Hi, I'm Debbie Sardone, and I own $1 Million maid service near Dallas, Texas. I also started the national nonprofit Cleaning for a Reason, and I'm the founder and creator of the Cleaning Business Fundamentals course. Now, I started my business out of the trunk of my car a long time ago, like many of you, and business grew very quickly because I was doing the cleaning, and it grew really on referrals. I didn't have to do any marketing, and my business doubled on referrals alone. Most of the trouble started when I was ready to expand my business and get out of the field and start hiring and training employees. I quickly learned that it was a whole different business when I was no longer wanting to be the one doing the cleaning. I learned quickly that loyal employees was really hard to come by, and to find people who would clean like me or care like I do was next to impossible. I also learned very quickly that I didn't have a strategy for training my employees properly. I also realized that when I did find someone and get them hired and trained, that I needed to add somewhere between 16 and 20 new regular customers very quickly, or the new employee would get discouraged and quit for a lack of work. And so balancing the need to add new recurring customers quickly was a challenge for me in the early days. I also learned that this business was feast or famine. When I spent money on marketing, somebody would quit. The phone would be ringing with new business, and I wouldn't have anybody to service the demand. So I'd be back out in the field doing the cleaning as I was trying to get out of the field as the business owner. It was a feast or famine business. And I also had to learn that it was not easy to keep my cleaners, my employees, from stealing my customers. That was a challenge in and of itself and a real eye-opener. I also discovered that at times I was forced to tolerate bad employees. I would have employees that could just walk all over me as a business owner because I didn't have any options to fire them. I didn't have anybody that was signing up to take their place. And so I inadvertently ended up keeping employees who were good cleaners but bad employees. I remember one really low point in my business where I had to once again make a phone call to a weekly client. It was a Friday, and I remember it like it was yesterday. And I called her up to say, I hate to do this to you again, but we're going to have to bump your cleaning again because, and then there would always be a different reason. One time the employee quit without notice. Another time the employee called in sick. Another time the employee was having car trouble. It was always different employees at different times. It was always the same customer. And I'll never forget what that customer said to me. She said, I would fire your company, but the truth of the matter is, you guys are the best company in town. And I realized at that point, this is a great business, and the competition out there is very weak. But my business did not reflect my standards and did not reflect my values because it was such a struggle every single day to find good workers, to train those workers, to deliver on the quality promises that I had set the standard for when I was doing the cleaning. This was a very difficult challenge for me, and I just was struggling to overcome each and every one of those challenges. After talking with that customer and being disappointed with myself and my business, knowing that I wasn't delivering the kind of quality and the kind of service that I had always taken pride in, knowing that I would never get out of the field if I couldn't fix this problem. That day, and I just remember this feeling that I had. It's been probably 25 years ago, but I determined that day that I was going to fix my broken business. I didn't know how I would get there, but I knew that I needed better systems, better hiring, better training, better marketing, and better margins. It seemed like if I wasn't doing the cleaning and I was paying my staff to do the cleaning, My margins were terrible. I wasn't making any money, and I knew I had to do better in each of these areas. I always believed there was tremendous potential in this business. I just didn't know how to make my business successful. I knew I was smart enough. I knew I worked hard enough, but I also knew I was missing some critical pieces to the cleaning business puzzle. And I was losing precious time and precious money trying to figure it out on my own. So I did the very smartest thing I ever have done in my business. I hired a team of consultants. Now you've got to remember, this was more than 20 years ago. It was before Google even existed. Some of you can't even imagine those days. Internet, there was no such thing as all these cleaning business gurus and consultants. They didn't exist. But I found a team of consultants. They were general business consultants that I hired out of Chicago, Illinois. My business was in Texas. And that team flew to Texas and they came into my business. They turned my business inside out and upside down and helped me fix every broken piece in my business. And there were about 7 key areas that needed to be addressed. But the good news was there weren't 100 areas. The solutions weren't complicated. They weren't complex. They just weren't obvious. And I might never have figured out the answers on my own. I might still be toiling away, struggling like so many other businesses are year after year after year. In fact, 93% of all maid services never get to $1 million. They never reach their goals and their dreams for their business. So I could have spent many, many years or an entire lifetime trying to figure it out. Now, I will tell you, back in those days, 20 years ago when I hired them, the team of consultants cost me $40,000. And you might wonder, well, gee, Debbie, was it worth it? Well, I'll tell you, 9 months after I hired them and after they came in and we strategized all the steps to fix in my business that weren't working, 9 months later, we were grossing $1 million. And that was over 20 years ago. So in the past 20 years, the business success that I realized from that one investment has paid for itself over and over and over again. Now today, my business does about $1.3 million a year in annual sales. We have over 400 regular customers and over 35 employees on any given day. My business runs entirely without me. I literally only step foot in my office 2 to 3 times a week. 2 to 3 times a month. I only go in 2 to 3 times a month to meet with my staff and to go over the numbers and to discuss challenges and problem solving. I get to work as a consultant as opposed to working in my business every single day. I have created a formula for success that's low stress, profitable, and a business that runs without me. And I'm not saying this to brag. I'm telling you this because freedom is priceless. And if you can create a business that works, that's profitable, and provides quality of life and freedom, you have the American dream. You have what people start a business for in the first place. I get to do what I love every single day. I have 3 other businesses. I get to speak and travel around the country. I have the time to volunteer for Cleaning for a Reason. And when I'm in town, I get to work from home every single day, doing business consulting and talking with people about my Cleaning Business Fundamentals course. What would you do if you had a profitable, self-running business that provided financial freedom and personal freedom? What would you do with that kind of business? I hope you decide today that you're not going to waste another year on a broken business that doesn't pay well enough for all the headache and the heartache that it causes. Don't keep waiting for change to happen by chance. It's your future. Own it. Invest in yourself and let me help you grow your business to the size of your dreams.